Let's talk about the music you listen to every single day. We're about to peel back the layers on the songs you love and find out where they really came from.
Seriously, have you ever heard a track and thought, where did this sound even begin? Well, we're going to trace the DNA of today's biggest hits. And trust me, the story starts way further back than you might think. It's a pretty wild ride.
Okay, so our story kicks off in one of the most incredible musical cities in the world, New Orleans. Picture it, the early 1900s. Something brand new, something revolutionary is bubbling up from the streets. A sound that's about to lay the groundwork for, well, pretty much everything that comes next.
You see, jazz was this amazing musical melting pot. It took these powerful, complex rhythms from Africa and stirred them together with European instruments and harmonies. You had trumpets, clarinets, and trombones, creating this totally electrifying sound that just couldn't be contained. It exploded out of New Orleans and started taking over big cities like Chicago and New York.
So what made jazz so special? A huge part of it was this thing called improvisation. Basically, musicians were making up the music as they went along. No sheet music, just pure feeling poured right into their instruments. It meant that no two performances were ever the same. Each one was a totally unique, in-the-moment creation.
But music never, ever stands still, right? Jazz started to evolve. It got bigger, bolder, and morphed into these new styles that totally captivated the whole country, from massive, glamorous ballrooms to tiny, packed-out clubs.
In the 1930s and 40s, swing was absolutely king. We're talking about the era of big bands. And when I say big, I mean huge orchestras on stage, just blasting out this high-energy music that was literally impossible not to dance to. Everybody was glued to their radios to hear it, and the dance halls were jam-packed.
But at the very same time, something else was brewing. A much more raw, emotional sound called the blues. This music came from a place of real hardship, but also real hope. And this is so important because the blues, well, it became the very soul of the music that was just around the corner.
The blues gave musicians a super important framework called the 12-bar structure. You can think of it like a musical blueprint, a standard pattern of chords that's simple but incredibly powerful. And the crazy part, this musical recipe is still used in thousands and thousands of songs today, from rock to pop.
So, as the big band era started to fade, things got a little smaller and a lot more intense. New groups started popping up, playing what we now call rhythm and blues, or R&B. They ditched the giant horn sections for new sounds from the electric guitar and piano, and it was all about this strong, soulful, driving backbeat you could really feel.
Okay, here is where it all comes together. We're in the early 1950s. You take the improvisation of jazz, the soul of the blues, the energy of R&B, you mix it all up, and what do you get? A massive cultural explosion called rock and roll.
Let's break down the recipe. The main ingredient was the heavy backbeat and raw energy from R&B. Then you stir in some of the catchy melodies and storytelling you'd find in country music, and the whole thing is built on that soulful foundation of the blues.
The result was, wow, something totally new. It was exciting, it was loud, and it felt kind of rebellious. For the first time, young people had a sound that was just for them. It wasn't their parents' music. This was the soundtrack to being a teenager. Now, this whole revolution wasn't just about notes and chords. It was powered by some incredible new technology. These inventions completely changed not just how music sounded, but how we made it, how we listened to it, and how we shared it.
Let's start with the big one, the electric guitar. This was an absolute game changer. An acoustic guitar was usually pretty quiet, stuck in the background. But now, a guitarist could plug into an amplifier and just wail. Loud, distorted solos could cut through the whole band. The electric guitar literally became the symbol of this new music.
Then there's how people listened to it. The 45 RPM single was a huge deal. It was this small, cheap, durable little record. For the first time, teenagers could actually afford to buy their favorite songs. They could collect them, trade them with friends, and build their own personal soundtracks. And how did these songs get so popular? 2 words, the radio. Radio was the engine. You had these personalities called disc jockeys, or DJs, who were like the original influencers. A DJ could play a brand new song. Kids would go crazy and call the station to hear it again. And bam, a local tune could become a massive national hit, seemingly overnight.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes, recording studios were turning into creative laboratories. Magnetic tape meant you could actually edit recordings and fix mistakes.
You could use a bunch of different microphones to capture each instrument separately, giving producers all this power to mix and balance the final sound. They could even add cool new effects like echo and reverb, creating sounds no one had ever heard before.
So we've gone from jazz all the way to rock and roll. Why does any of this history from over 70 years ago still matter today? Well, because this era literally wrote the blueprint for almost all the music we listen to now.
Think about it. That standard band lineup of guitar, bass, drums, and a singer, that was locked in back then. The whole verse-chorus structure of your favorite pop songs, perfected in this era. That powerful backbeat that just makes you want to move, check. Even the whole idea of music being tied to youth culture and fashion, it all exploded right here.
It just goes to show you, right? The core of this music is timeless. You can put on one of those early rock and roll records today, and that raw energy and excitement still hits you. That's some serious staying power.
Ultimately, it proves a crucial point. Music is always driven forward by innovation, both musically and technologically. Back then, it was the electric guitar and the radio. So it really makes you wonder, what's next? What new technology, right now, is getting ready to spark the next big music revolution?